All right, my brother. So we speak again. Very different circumstances today than when we last spoke. So I noticed like a lot of people are doing these check-ins, right? So check in with me. What's going on? What's on your mind these days?
Okay, well, to check on to well, hey everyone, I'm Andres, a little ocean drop currently in Colombia. My last 20 years in the US, and when 2008 hit, the financial crisis that was very felt in the US, not necessarily in Colombia, this situation reminds me of that. This situation, because I lost my job there. And it put me, of course, in the situation that I would not want to be right now. Therefore, right now, I'm in a situation that I'm actually okay in being in, which means whatever happened to me in 2008, actually, it didn't just change my life. It really changed absolutely everything in my life. Because what I lived, I went through the entire 2009, sending resumes in fear, looking at the news with one question in my mind. It is, how is it possible that that want to just go out there and provide value, help people, be of service, I can't? This is the most ridiculous idea I've ever seen. How is it that I can't? What do you mean that I can't just be of service? If I was in a little town, of course I could do it. Just go to anybody and say, hey, you need a hand? But in Miami, where I was, you cannot do that. Actually, you could actually end up in jail if you do that. I cannot just go out and offer help or be of service. People actually would look weird to me. I would have to wait till somebody hires me. And so that idea is what changed my everything. It led me to leaving my 20-year career in architecture and to pretty much start doing something that I own myself and I can sell, and it all depends on me, independent. So that's one aspect, of course, work, but it hits everything. It hits relationships, it hits residence, it hits belongings. My life today, the level of minimalism that I live today is ridiculous compared to what I used to do. So I have a lot of less unnecessary caretaking to do. Everything changed, man, everything. So now I'm privileged. I'm here in where the food grows and where there's no buildings with a lot of people. That's where I'm at, in nature, in the coffee region.
So I guess the answer to a question of how's your life changed since all of this started, perhaps is like, it hasn't changed much, right?
Nothing, man. Now, the thing is, I realized that I've been actually in quarantine or in lockdown for 14 months. Because 14 months ago, I came here. I designed this house. This is the house of my parents. I designed since I'm also architect. And I came here last January. So since last January, I've just been here. My belongings are down to a backpack. Of course, everything in my life goes always a little bit extremist, and I went from a tutu house full of stuff down to a backpack. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm not living with my daughter, and I wish I was. But I mean, life took us, very weird and unexpected way, and the family disintegrated. And well, she's with mom in Miami. They are in a difficult situation. They are in a situation where, I mean, mom has a job, this is the situation that everybody's living, right? They have a home and a family to take care, and nobody knows where resources are going to come from. And there's a lot of stress, bills, and expenses. Where I am at here today, I don't have that. I don't have a stress, bills, or expenses. I don't. I actually looked for a place where I can be in peace, freedom, and nature. That's also another thing I did. I moved out of the metropolis 8 years ago. No more metropolis for me. I'm in nature, where I can sit down, focus, and create my creation, do my work, do the work I own, and serve the people.
Fantastic. And, I feel these days that for many, many years, I've been pre-warning people or advising people or preparing people for these kind of downturns or changes, let's say, because some people are thriving in this still. There's kind of like every disaster is somebody's blessing, opportunity, and vice versa. And so Um, but it looks like at the moment a lot of people are going to be hit. A lot of regular people are going to be hit by this one way or another. So then it's like now it's happening, and then people are trying to quickly get to some sort of solution, right? That may require quite a lot of time to adjust to, right? So what do you advise to people now? Considering that we've
Easy,
been advising this for a long time, what do you advise now?
easy. It's exactly what I did. What I did is wait. I'm not going to put myself under that circumstance, not ever again, not ever in my life, where I have to wait to be hired to work. No, no way. Because I suffered. Dude, when I count the years, I think I spent probably 8 years handing out resumes without really finding my thing. During the 8 years, of course, I did a lot of entrepreneurship, consulting, contracting, freelancing, and everything I could, you know but when I realized how much time I was spending in looking for, I said, like, no, 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 no way. And I know that what I find is not it's not my. So no. Becoming the Kripalu yoga teacher really changed my life, and I focused on one thing, bro. What I focused on is creating my greatest creation, owning absolutely all of the work I do. Whatever I do today, I own, and nobody else. I own. So if I work a decade, I own a decade of work, bro. A decade of work is a lot of things. Many employees go through 4 decades and they don't own a page. So that was me. I sat down to do my architectural portfolio, and I say, like, how is it possible that I don't own any of the work I did in all of these projects? This is no, no. So, but you see, the typical any creator or writer, he owns 10 books. That's it, and they're for sale forever, right? He can be sick, out of town, or dead, and still providing value and earning money. So I say, yeah, man, that's the way. I'm gonna sit down and create. So I focus on what is the business that I'm going to be doing for 20 years for sure. So that I build something big. I don't want to be shifting every 5 years, as I did in those learning entrepreneurship years, trying different things that they depended on the economy or on somebody else. This depends on me. So if it depends on me, it's self-reliant. I love it. So I sit down, I create. Of course, there's a big question at the beginning, is what to do. Having that clarity is part of the work, and it's beauty. That's it, man. So now I'm a great creator. I'm a creator, and I am an owner of everything I do. I'm no longer a servant.
Owner, creator. I like it.
Yeah,
So,
man.
so what do you think is actually going on right now worldwide? What's your
When we
interpretation
mentioned
of the situation? Yeah.
when we mentioned that some people's tragedy is some people's blessing, there's one aspect of that puts me very uncomfortable, but I don't really want to dedicate too much time to it, but it's worth mentioning, which is then, of course, are these situations manipulations of the people that get benefit, right? Because when I watched what happened in 2008, after that, a lot of people got a lot of money, you see, but then at the cost of everybody else's. And in the monetary capitalistic Western world that we live in, that's how it works. If you look at the typical company, let's just mention the main ones, Nestle, McDonald's, and Coca-Cola. They're not really there to help provide service, health, or anything. But listen, nobody's bad. We need everything that we have, and that's how we grow and evolve. But we just fall into some archetypes that we got to realize what they are. These three companies are out there to just create profit, period. Coca-Cola fabricates a toxic product inside a toxic building, sells it to intoxicate people, transporting in toxic vehicles that create some toxic afterwards. It's just a factory of toxic. So yeah, we don't really need that, right? So and that used to be the model of companies, enterprises, and industries in the Western world for the last 5 decades. I remember somebody wrote a book where they say the one and only purpose of business is making money. And the Western world got screwed after that, because no, my lawyer still tells me that, like that. Say, no, you may have business, make money. Say, like, no, 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 don't think like that. But most people think like that. No, no, no. We have businesses to be of service, bro. Yeah, that's what we gotta do. I mean, if it's a little town of 10 people, those 10 people better not be out there to make money. They better be out there to provide service. They need their own service. So whatever we put out into the world is what we have in our world. So if we have 100 money makers, holy shit, they're gonna be taking money from me. But if we have 100 service providers, I'm full of service. So what's going on out there? Well, uh, it could be a manipulation. I don't no longer care. Now I'm stoic and self-reliant. Whatever is going on out there, I depend on me. See, that's the part I like. In 2008, I was wondering what's happening, what's going on, like who's the quad, like no longer. What I now see out there is there's a flu. They call it strain such, and for some reason, they decided to have lockdown. Okay, but that's what we have. So I look at, of course, at the entire positive of this thing. I actually hope that this is a very difficult situation that many people are living, not necessarily me myself right now. I could run into very difficult, but right now I'm grateful. I hope that this very difficult situation brings us the transformation or the awareness that we need. We really need change. We really need it. Painful as all of them. Nobody's gonna change because, oh, that's better. Okay, let's change. Let's change everything. Nobody's gonna do it. We're humans. We're dumb and we're beautiful, but we change through pain. That's how we change. So, well, I'm here to be of service for everyone that needs it, and I'm hoping the best for everyone. Let's drop on and go with love through this change and experience the pain that we need in order to become more aware of what to do next.
So that, when you mentioned pain, there seems to be pain at different levels of consciousness. If I was to follow, spiral dynamics model, it would be, instinctive pain, magical pain, powerful pain, rule and roll pain, rational pain, etc., sensitive pain, emotional, and so on. So, what about future casting a little bit into next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 years? What do you think is going to be the outcome of all of this?
Okay, since I don't know a few very important variables, for example, I don't know what the coin is going to be. I don't know what the economy is going to be. I don't know which industries are actually going to be growing out of from nothing or thriving or eliminated, or I don't know, all of that panorama. And at the end of the day, I don't really work at big business level, at enterprise level. I work at personal level. So what I do know is what can the person dedicate focus and energy to, regardless of everything, all of that happen. See, and I'm going to pretty much mention what I mentioned again. The best thing that I found for me, and then of course for the people I found, is identify what do you care for the most in your life. Because we care for what we care, and that's the only thing we care for. See, when I was doing architecture, yeah, man, it's useful. Architecture is useful, although in reality, it can be very toxic too. See, we can be just building buildings out of nothing, just build buildings just so that some people can invest and buy and keep empty, high class, high end building apartments that are not necessarily what the people are needing. Right now, we're experiencing how we actually need sustainability, self-sustainability when it comes to everything. Let's say if our system really falls down, let's say that the number of cases of COVID-19 grow. Let's say that the panic grows and everything goes out of control. Well, we really lose our infrastructure. We lose power, Wi-Fi, water, we lose everything. And if that goes nuts, then is where we would really have to see how is it that we should and can live. How is it, what's the sustainable way? See, from the architect point of view, of course, I know that this house, I've lived in a car and I've lived in a very big house. So I know now clearly what do I really need or not. It's not necessarily that I need to have, having to hire staff to do things for you is actually weird. Because hey, people have their own ventures, missions, creations, and purpose, right? So, and I don't like the subjugation method that exists between boss and employee. Not at all. I rather work with partners on purpose, people owning their stuff. I've had employees, and I don't like that. I don't like the fact that this $1,000 goes either to them or to me. So if I want it, I have to take it from them, or if I want to give it to them, I have to take it away from me. See, and my employees don't own the work they do. I do. See, that sucks. No, I actually want them to do what I do. See, no, own your work, man. See, so as you can see, I've developed a system which is self-reliant and stoic. See, non-dependent of everything that can happen, because we don't know what's going to happen. Okay, what I do know it's going to happen is that things are going to do what they must. See, we're going to receive what we need. Just like the body gets sick, goes through sickness, heals, comes back and learns, it's the same thing for society. Society got sick because in society we're doing a lot of things wrong. And lately we can see how social media, the internet, and a few other similars have amplified the things that we do wrong. See, we're very narcissistic and we're focused on the wrong things. And we're getting hit by all of this. We've seen it all over the place.
So, one thing that came to my mind as you were saying that, because what you've done in your personal life created a sustainable, effectively shelter, and a very sexy looking shelter for that matter. I can see value in architect's guide to creating your own sustainable shelter, right? All
Absolutely.
round. Yeah. Like physically, mentally, supply chain wise, all that kind of stuff. Is there such a thing in your creation set that you might be planning, or that you think you could put together for people to, it's almost like there's a prepper's guide, preppers have been talking about this a lot. In some sense, you're a prepper, and many of us are preppers because we've been preparing for these kind of things all the time. Mm-hmm. But I think what feels to me is like a lot of people will be looking for going forward is like a sexy prepper's guide for sustaining yourself going forward. Yeah.
I can't believe that you mentioned that, because that is what I am completely focused on right now. What am I focused on right now? What I'll be releasing this year. This year, I will be releasing a library of mental programs. Currently, there's a little bit over 50 mental programs. In reality, they're all just complements of one thing. You could look at it like what school or what studying a career in a university does. See, let's say to become the architect, you need a lot of programs to install in yourself. So that's what I'm doing with Little Ocean Drop. I'm creating online a list, a library of mental programs that are definitely not what you would find out there in education. You see, this is, for example, a program about solitude, a program about, of course, creation, a program about addictions, a program about emotional health, a program, you see, programs, all the complementary programs that I consider necessary, and the ones that I can guarantee taking the student, the client, the mentee from A to Z. See, even a mental program to live in the car if you need it, because for me, living in the car was an amazing bootstrapping tool in order to transition from a period to a period. Right now, since you mentioned a lot of architecture, I don't really have programs there for let's say infrastructure, building, construction, transportation. That's too much. But yeah, man, it'll probably end up there, because in reality, living is really easy. Living sustainable is really easy. That's what we've been doing forever. And in the past, we used to do it with just sticks and stones. So in reality, it's really easy. The thing is, fashion and the magazine, the image and sales and marketing really got us drunk with a lifestyle that is just not sustainable. And it's a little bit crazy, chasing fame or image or looks, or like, well, we don't really need it. And in a crisis like this is where we realize, oh shit, look at the things that we actually really need are completely different to what we're focused on out there every day. So Okay, yes, that's what I'm doing. Part of my greatest creation, the library of mental programs. I can't wait to release it. I'm even thinking of just starting to release one by one because there's several. So the information would be out there. Of course, everything I do rounds around it, but people would have a place, a resource where they can go and purchase at different prices, you know, very cheap or a little bit better, more investment or such. And of course, the most expensive would be working with the mentor himself, right? But the library would be there. My beautiful creation is there, available, there forever, and I can even improve the products, you know, as time goes by, as things transfer. So that's, I know that this subject, that material, that creation is one of the best things I can provide for the planet, for people. You see, when I'm here alive, so I'm on my absolute mission. It really rocks. It's just amazing.
So what is your advice then to humanity right now?
Well, okay, let's mention some ingredients. I don't know which order, but let's say minimalism has helped me lots. Minimalism. Okay, if you want, I always like pointing to who would be the best source of minimalism is the minimalists online. So let's say another of the programs that I'm producing is the automatical learning system. I believe that, I mean, we all love entertainment, but entertainment can be actually useful. It doesn't necessarily be just distraction. Nowadays, my entertainment is all nutrition for me. I have a list of books pending to read, a list of YouTube videos pending to go through, a list of movies that are related to what I care for. So whenever I have spare time, free time, or any time that is just not out of work, I'm constantly learning. And in this lists comes the programs that I need. So say minimalism is one, because minimalism helps you be efficient with income versus expense. Let's say minimalism. That's one thing that can be put quickly. Let's say that people can just get rid of things that they don't need, man, and start actually collecting energy or wealth into so for the transformations that we're probably going to live further on to the future. One thing that I'm sad about is that we have actually built a lot of buildings in the world, in the planet, that are not necessarily the best for our future, and they're already built. So okay, well, we have to work with that. We have to maintain all of the roads that we built, even if they were built to do necessary jobs. But well, okay, things go like that. But when it comes to each of us, well, so minimizing that down, then looking for clarity into with the future. For me, the work in identity was huge, which means yoga, meditation, breath work, and singing helped me silence the mind to have a better clarity of who I was, of being able to see my mental programs and beliefs, to be able to change them. That thing is just beautiful. My first book I wrote is on those 4 free tools. They're free. Yoga, meditation, singing, and breath work, they're free. You can do them in any day. And in 6 months, thing on that, you know, there's a lot of things to work there. But your life, when you have that clarity, you're going to be in a great place. Mel Gibson in the movie Braveheart, his life is a mess, we could say, but he has clarity of purpose. Is just one thing. The beauty about clarity of purpose is that you know what to sacrifice. You can sacrifice everything else except, you know, your purpose. People without purpose don't know what to sacrifice. Therefore, they don't want to lose none of the pieces, man. And that creates a lot of stress, anxiety, worry, and anger. So minimize identity, clarity, purpose, so that you know where to go through. Listen, for the people that can, get rid of everything. Really, get rid of what you don't need, man, because get rid of what you don't need gives you just, okay, so what do I do now? Gives you just space, time, clarity, right? Get rid of stuff. If you can, get rid of stuff, you know, for us to move forward.
So, I mean, one of the things that I recently had a conversation with someone about, company Aston Martin that make the fancy cars, right? And they got bailed out before any of this started, with 500 million pounds or dollars loan or a sort of investment. And, you know, the guy that's a good friend of mine basically said that they are the least, they're the second worst value loss car on the market, right? So an Aston Martin, you buy it today, and in a year's time, it's worth 50% of what you paid. The first biggest loss leader is McLaren. Okay, McLaren loses the most amount of value. So, but you know, as I play in my mind through the kind of, you know, other industries in terms of how much you lose by owning that particular thing, you know, I just go, more I go through things, more I just think of like a lot of companies are worse than Aston Martin, right? Like Aston Martin is maybe a good example. So more I then realized that more we're just kind of earning to spend on stuff that is completely pointless. And what are some of the things that we really do need?
Okay, check it out. I love that you mentioned Aston Martin, and I love cars, but luxury, we don't need. We just don't need luxury. And I've seen after social media came to play, people and kids focus a lot in luxury. If they don't acquire the luxury, let's at least look like luxury. Dude, we don't need luxury, man. We don't need it. And the thing is, if it would make us happier, but it doesn't, man. Studying happiness is a beautiful thing, because with studying happiness, I'm going to send you to listeners to the documentary of Jim Carrey and the producer of his movies, which is called I Am. I think he's called the documentary. And then the guy, the producer, I forgot his name. He bought a house with, they made a movie, and he bought a house with 20 rooms. And he goes into the house, and he goes in the house and like, okay, what do I do with this thing, man? This is weird, creepy, freaky, and sick. It's narcissism, man. That's what we're suffering from. No, we don't need that, bro. Actually, when you really pay attention of how much energy is it gonna take from you, that house. Listen, I had a house, a tutu house in South and East West Palm Beach with a front and backyard. And I noticed that I was spending the entire month sustaining the house. If I was out there, I was looking for money to sustain the house. And if I was in the house, I was doing lots of beautiful things, yes. But they were for me. See, the plants, the garden, the art, the music, it was for me. See, it was beautiful, but I wasn't really spending my time being of service to the community, which I have a lot of value to provide and help. So I realized, oh my God, listen, it's beautiful having a house. The image that it gives me is like, oh yeah, awesome and nice, but I'm not doing my mission. So maybe I don't know what my mission is. Oh, maybe I'm avoiding all of that together. Oh, maybe I'm doing what everybody else is doing. Looking good, looking to look good, looking to look successful and good without necessarily clarity of mission, being of value and service, providing value. Looking at social media posts, we can clearly see which are providing value and which are not.
So here is a little challenge question to you. You know, I've been contemplating about this idea of self-sovereignty, right, for a long time, and putting things into action to, you know, get there. And you know, one realizes that, like for me personally, on my own, individually, to be self-sovereign is actually quite achievable for me quickly now. Like I think on my own, I can be self-sovereign right now. Complexity rises, and we've had this kind of exponential, you know, growth of the virus, and then it's brought a lot of attention to exponential impact of various exponents, right? Exponentially, life becomes more complex and complicated as you have wife, children, you need to provide for others, and you realize that, well, within the matrix, the children are legally required to go to school. Yeah. And then, there's like legal requirements for paying taxes and legal requirements for this and that, all sorts of legal requirements, right? So you then realize, well, actually for my family collectively, let's say wife and 2 children and a husband, for all of us to become self-sovereign is like another order of magnitude complexity, right? But either way, if we were all self-sovereign on the planet, the challenge question to you is, would that not mean that, first of all, we wouldn't need to serve anybody else because we'd just be individually independent? That's one question. And second question that goes off of that, would that not be a form of narcissism?
So the thing is, that is just too utopian. We can't achieve it. And and we can do better. We can do interdependence. We're that's what our species is, an interdependent species. So the best examples I can pull out in my mind is just the small town. The small town works beautiful because there's just one ice cream maker, there's one butcher, there's one milkman, and the whole town is served by that one shop. It's beautiful because it shows how humans really, how can we live in a community healthy, and how can we be of value, of service. And then you see people there in small towns like that, they don't even need schools or universities. They don't need anything, because there's one thing that we're missing out today: mentorship. So the kids are actually better mentored by looking at a good role model parent. If they're looking at a servant parent, the kids are gonna become servants. But if the parent is a great creator and owner of its work, well, the kid doesn't have to do anything. It's natural environment. It's the only program that's around. So the kid automatically is already ready, prepared, and becoming what it's gonna be, which is, let's say, the son of the butcher. See, son of the butcher already, he doesn't have to take courses. It's just natural taking. Now we're more sophisticated than ice cream, butcher, and milk. See, my field of work and yours: emotional health, mental health, health of the body. And for that, well, then we go and we develop those too. See, things that are we consider not necessarily for living the next year, but for the long term, they're the most important. See, from my point of view, there's nothing more important than emotional and mental health, because those are the rulers and guides of everything else. So the thing is, we lack role models. We really need to start focusing on healthy models so that we can start living that. So not until we find the beautiful interdependence in a town that it is kind of like contemporary and well developed enough to our current life. See, that people can live simply, frugally, but very high quality of life, having everything and time to devote to life, friends, neighbors, and getting rid of addictions. The amount of addictions that we currently have is just ridiculous, man. Nobody's spending time only in their addictions. The cell phone is the first one, right? So we're no longer spending time. We just spend time in the addictions. We just have for most employees and servants, the mind is just tortured all week long, and the rest of the time wants to be spent in escapism, party, and all actually focused on looking for luxury instead of, hey, how can I be of service to the people around me with what they need, with what can I provide?
Yeah, it's the kind of focus on growth in a kind of materialistic sense, not spiritual sense, not kind of self-development
like
sense.
Starbucks.
Yeah. And the kind of focus on that sort of growth means that I mean, even like, credit cards, like, there's been like a thing around, oh, I have a debit card that's made out of platinum. and even that is like a, you know, a status symbol. Like everything has turned to a status symbol, right? And that's been sort of the design drive, so to speak. Like it's luxury everything, from the cereal that you eat to the card that you used to pay money with, and apart from luxury mindset. Yeah.
You know where we can see that very clearly? In social media. This is what we see the public, the general public posting on social media. The typical post, I don't know what this began. I think this began with Instagram. The typical posts were people showing how good of a day they had. I'm going to share with you. This is not bad. This is just something we fall on, but I'm going to share the effects. How good of a day I'm having, you know? So I'm in the yacht, you know, with the drinks or with the girls or just flashing how good of a good time I'm having right now. And that is totally the wrong focus for social media. You know what I was going to say, like, you know what I think we should be posting on social media is how am I helping somebody today? How am I helping somebody today? Because we all need help. The person that says, you know what, I don't really need a lot of help. No, dude, we all need so much help, especially emotionally and mentally. So no, we should be posting is how am I being of service? How am I providing value? How am I helping somebody? I'm going to compare two images. And Star Wars shows it very well when they go to the most luxurious town on the galaxy. You only see people doing the chin chin with, you know, elegant and the brindis, right? Oh, chin chin. Those are people, those are the ones that are not and doing nothing, because the people that are really serving, they have muddy hands. They're dirty. They're working it. You see, there's no vanity and there's no luxury in being of service from the heart and soul to your people. There is nothing that will help a person feel good and better, which we're missing on, that being of service, you know, with your body, with you, with your heart, with your soul, to your people close by. That's the pinnacle, man. The pinnacle is not showing off or big online entrepreneurs.
So I've, you know, I've noticed this thing, and I don't really use Instagram. And with my Facebook, I've trained the algorithm to show, like, basically I've been connecting with loads of conscious people, and so my Facebook feed is actually full of messages of love, self-development, service, wisdom, you know, useful stuff. So in that sense, I've redesigned Facebook to be a tool and a place and a space where I can actually grow through, because there's lots of people that are complementary to what I'm doing, like yourself and lots of others. So it's not a toxic place. But with Instagram, I found it to be virtually impossible to filter out toxicity. It's like no matter who I follow or unfollow, I just always end up seeing some dude smoking a cigar with a, you know, a hoe, you know, next to him, or a bunch of hoes, or like a hoe dancing and eating a burger that she says, oh, I'm always eating a burger, but I'm size 0. And it's like, I can't escape the toxicity on Instagram. Like, it's impossible. So I don't really use it. And I've noticed that if I ever go back to it to just kind of scroll through, it's just like, it just makes me go like, that, like, anxiety rises, and it's like, this thing is completely toxic. So yeah.
TikTok.
TikTok, I've literally gone on it twice, and I've gone like, this is worse than Instagram.
Check out what happened to me in TikTok. I went in and I say, oh my God, this is the biggest amount of crap I've ever seen in my life. I just crap. But then I learned that the algorithm is just computerized. The AI is showing you what kind of like what you want, and it detects how much time I spend in each video post, and how, or my likes, comments, or shares. So in TikTok, in Instagram, there's window for search where it shows what the software thinks you want. Well, TikTok has a window that is just all like that. So if I spend all of my minutes, like, shares, and follows in entrepreneurship things, TikTok eventually just shows me that. So it can become a nutritious source, like you did with the Facebook. It can become, but then we have to be careful of not spending minutes, likes, follows, and shares on bullshit. See? And that is a tool for our own awareness, which means if you were able to look at somebody else's TikTok, oh, well, that's what his mind really goes for, right? So if I see in my TikTok just girls and cars, I can see in this is what my mind is going towards, girls and cars. So it is self-awareness, although I'm sure that most people are using it wrong. and the thing is, it's a tool for young people, let's say at the beginning, and young people are always lost. They're always lost. I mean, I'm a rebel, and my mission while I was young was just go against, just rebel. Just go against. So of course, lost. But I am sure that if young people see adults like me, like you, having an awesome life, a life they want, well, of course they want to go towards that. The thing is, the life I was looking at the adults when I was in Bogota when I was 20, it was very crappy. All I saw was just people in a suit and tie going all day to the office, back and forth in traffic, every day repeating the same boring day forever, and that was it. I said, like, no way, man, I'm not gonna do baby boomer style, no way. So it is our duty now to have awesome lives, healthy lives, to role model to younger generations, so that even we can use those awesome tools in a wise way.
That's a cool tip actually about TikTok and training the algorithm there as well. I just, one of the things that put me off is because as soon as I opened it, the default setting for it was all this kind of just like dancing to music videos and so on. And it's like, I basically ended up being like, I didn't even know what to search for. And in some sense, it would, I suppose, be useful. Yeah, even this is like a survival guide or, like a digital survival guide to say, well, if you want to learn about entrepreneurship mindset, self-development, like real kind of sustainability kind of things, here are the bunch of people to follow on TikTok so that you can kick off your algorithm training with that sort of content as opposed to the crap, that's an idea that just kind of comes to mind.
There's two windows in TikTok: seeing the people I follow, or what TikTok sends to me. I never go to the people I follow because it throws it automatically in what TikTok sends to me. What TikTok sends to me is people that I don't follow, unknown people. That's one cool thing about the platform, which is it connects you with unknown, with everyone. You don't have to follow with unknown, but it's smart, as I share with you. If I just follow entrepreneurship, it just sends me to the entrepreneurs, you see, but they're all unknown to me and all sizes. That's
Okay.
cool, because in the other platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and others, you can only connect.
So that's the thing where I didn't know how to break out of, like, because I'm also not really so much interested in people I follow because I already follow them on a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I already know what everyone's saying, right?
Exactly.
Like you're looking for something new along the lines of some correlated, right? But I didn't know how to train that main window. Like, what do I search for? So that's where it
not
created
even with
me
searching.
Okay.
You can start with searching and search for whatever your mind goes for, but be very careful where you spend each second. TikTok counts if you go to the end of the video, if you replay it, how many times you replay it.
Yeah.
And if you hit like, many times we hit likes on cars without conscious about it. Don't hit like on cars. Don't spend seconds on cars. See, swipe fast, and when whatever subject you really want to receive, overdose on that, and it starts sending you that.
Okay. So I might have to give it a go again with that sort of like conscious approach. Yeah. And not kind of disregard the platform.
Don't disregard the platform. I spent 2 weeks on it. The thing is, okay, so I've been working on detoxing from dopamine sucking activities. See, my mind just goes for things that I don't want for it to go, right? I want to be writing and reading, and my mind just goes for bullshit. So like, and for that, what I did is I unfollowed everybody in my social medias, again, in Facebook and Instagram. So I went into my phone and there was nothing. See, nothing. So I said, okay, let's learn TikTok. So for 2 weeks, I was kind of like watching TikTok. And then I realized, oh my God, TikTok can actually be a lot more rewarding, addictive, interesting, and maybe toxic for ourselves than Instagram and Facebook. I think it's a lot funner platform, a lot more interesting, connected to people you don't know. It took time and it is powerful. So give it time, And then, yes, of course, well, you do whatever techniques to use these tools healthily. I started for the virus following. I'm now following about 8 people on Facebook, and it's very it's very clean, right? Now it's just 8 people, So in Instagram, I'm following 0. I continue. I agree with you. Although if somebody has an Instagram fan, I'm sure they can use it healthily also. Yes, of course. So, well, okay, that's how to do platform. You know what? YouTube is a platform that I think it can be used very helpful, because you have a list of pending videos. You have a list of subscribers. I can, if I want to see what they posted for coronavirus, I go to my subscribers. I always have a feed list, and it's not so. Well, okay, but there is information on the platform.
I've found over the years, I've found YouTube to be basically one of the most relevant platforms for like education, basically, because so many like university lectures are available for free, and ultimately, university is just kind of teaching you what the matrix, the matrix way. But so, if you have, like, let's say if you take the top universities of the world, like for most part, they're like unaffordable for us. We can't really even qualify for them because we've not been kind of like molded into that mold. But the lectures are free online. So I go like, well, I'll watch the lecture free online. I watched a lecture on law. I've like not really kind of a lawyer of any kind or anything, but it's useful. I watched a lecture on I don't know, artificial intelligence stuff, right? That I'm not really working in, but it's useful to know how it works. And so I think since YouTube started, I probably watched about 3 PhDs worth of lessons for free from major universities because, it's free, it's there. So that's useful. And that's really certainly what I'm looking to do with every other social media platform that I'm interacting with. But I haven't really found a way to do that with Instagram yet.
I find that the general public is missing out on that a lot. I find during these days of lockdown, I find a lot of people, well, first avoiding the whole situation. Let's say going surfing, or motorcycles, or kind of like avoiding. I think, me personally, I think that no, this is actually the time to go down on work. To like focus on work, especially. I know. I mean, the work from what we're doing. Oh my God, yes, of course. But okay, we all have an emotional life and dilemma that we gotta deal with. But there's a lot of I don't know what to do, and I noticed that also people don't have the automatical learning system. That people are just using entertainment like foolishly, like just feeding on stuff that is not nutritious and actually can be very confusing. See, because if we spend a year just watching bullshit, oh my God, that's why we have the culture that we have, because we're just focused on bullshit. The thing is, that's how we're trained. That's how the society kind of works for servants. So I love calling it automatical learning system, man. Just choose. Once you have purpose, clarity, you choose the movies that go along with, choose the books that go along with and any format that you want, through the eyes, through the ear, through the whatever, even any activity. And the most boring or lockdown of times can be the most nutrition of times. It actually can be really, 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 really awesome. It actually can be your very best time ever. See, because I no longer have to spend time working for somebody else, working the whole week or so, whatever. and I actually have time for myself, that's having time for yourself is a huge gift. And for those that are in solitude, solitude can either be your worst toxic ever or your biggest blessing ever. Solitude is a huge privilege that is not available for all. Many people just will never live in solitude. But right now we have a lot of solitude. The thing is, it's being misused and falls into addiction. A lot of my friends have to smoke weed before they go to sleep. Have to be the addiction to orgasm is taking over horribly, man. It is unstoppable. I mean, I know of many males that everything they do in their lives is focused around just the addiction of orgasm, you know, their job, car, house, clothing, status, activities, places, everything, relationships, going around a toxic activity. I even seen friends that their businesses are completely focused on their addictions or their insecurities. See, so to supply that emotionally could be actually be fed healthily. See, no, that's not the way to go. The thing is, we're very badly prepared for things like that. So hits like this helps us become aware, and we need tools. We need to be learning and absorbing tools. Tools from the old Vedas and yogis and meditators are awesome to begin with, because they can put the mind in a better place, in a better cleansed and aware place to like start planting, nurturing things. We've spent 20 years, I did 20 years of alcohol, man. And I did probably 30 years of addiction to orgasm. And these are heavy addictions that take a lot of time, energy, attention, and money. And they're toxic, man. They're toxic. So I wish that in school, instead of them punishing me because I couldn't read, they would have been helping me and helping me plant nurturing seeds. You mentioned that school that there's a legal requirement to go to school. I say no, there is not. But of course, it depends on which territory on the planet. Of course, over here where I am, no, there is not such a thing. In the US, there's a lot of homeschoolers, there's a lot of world schoolers. So there's a lot of, no, I don't see the necessity to go to school legally. Unfortunately, the society needs school as babysitting for mini servants that are sons of bigger servants. But we are the ones feeding that servitude model that ruined our lives. We don't really need that. I hate to be talking bad about schools, because from a parent and a nurturing point of view, schools can be beautiful and loving places. That's the image we want to have from Hollywood. But schools really run on toxic programming. They run on obedience, obligation, punishment, rewards, servitude, subjugation, bullying, and cheating, corruption. It's really nasty, and that spreads the general culture. No, we can do a lot better, but it's on people like you and me, light workers, to develop better. See, better systems. If you ask me, there's two systems on the planet that I really, really like: summer camp and social club. Let's say in Miami, in the United States, I don't have access to course. Are you coming back? You froze. Are you back? Hear me?
Seems like my internet played up a little bit. So I heard you
Okay.
up to the summer camp and social club.
Yeah, the summer camp works beautifully for, let's say, nurturing and learning. It is a place where there is no subjugation, obligation, obedience, but you can just choose what things you'll want and like, and there will be mentors there to help you, let's say, in a very free range method. The frame is always the most important. See, if you do 13 years of training, but the frame is one of servitude, you're screwing yourself up big time. See, that's what schools do. Even if they put the best material on their classes, the frame is still one of obedience and servitude, following orders. See, wrong frame. So in the summer camp format, we can do a lot better things in that kind of similar format. For society, the social club format, I love it. For example, I'm going to place an example, because the thing is, I mean, I'm going to mention something that's very utopic. Living without money, it's utopic, but it is possible. And a social club kind of works like that, because everybody pays a fixed fee. So you have access to things per turn. If you want to go play tennis, you just have to find your turn and wait for your turn. So saying live would be, if I want to fly to Bali, well, you just gotta wait your turn. It could be, the planet or the city or the country. It could be just big social club, things per turn, access things per turn. So I like those two formats of the summer camp and the social club. Out of all structures that we all humans have, for structures that we need mentoring, and role modeling, those concepts, we need of them so much.
Totally. And actually what I'm seeing and sort of thinking about quite a lot these days is that the mentoring and coaching seems to have happened a lot in the last bunch of years. From it's been kind of celebrated as well, that people who are hurting, right, and who are scarred are really well positioned to coach other people how not to be hurt and scarred. And to me, that's like a complete anti-pattern. It's like you need to be healed and not hurting to coach and teach people how to be healed and not hurting, surely, right? And so we've had this situation with Jordan Peterson, who has got like decades and decades of clinical and deep depression, telling people how not to be depressed. And now he's in a detox clinic, trying to get off things that he was addicted to.
Oh shit. So he hasn't healed, let's say.
No, he was just going worse and worse and worse. So, how is that a pattern of healthy education, right? And mentoring and coaching and teaching, when the teacher themselves need that help the most, right?
I see that in psychology also. Psychologists, you know what? This is what I'm sorry to speak a little bit bad about psychologists, but this is what I run into that industry. I have friends that are psychologists, and I love taking psychologist classes, but they didn't even believe in transformation and healing. And I was, what the fuck, bro? So I'm telling you that right now I think different and I have a different value. And they tell me, no, you can't change values. And it's not like that. So like, no, yeah, bro, it worked like that, man. It happened to me. Transformation, healing. They don't believe in it because they haven't experienced it themselves. They haven't gone through that. I mean, yoga world, but real yoga world does that. Yoga can heal anything, man. It's just too strong and powerful. Yoga and meditation. And the entire holistic world around it. But I fired the last psychologist I hired. They haven't experienced, bro. They haven't experienced the healing. They haven't experienced the transformation. They're the same they haven't changed their beliefs. We really, when it comes to the mind, again, the first book I wrote is about this, how to install the second operating system of the mind. The mind just needs reprogramming, but hardcore operating system wise, not little programs. See, because the way we're raising kids, into Santa Claus is bullshit, and we throw them into school, and TV is toxic, and parents are also toxic, really. And so no, we're the first years of programming we're giving to kids is all toxic. So the good part about it, the way I look at it, is that gave me a lot of purpose. See, because my purpose is based like, I don't want that, but I want the opposite. That's awesome purpose. And so, okay, so we have that, but we need to reprogram minds. And we, of course, then if we need that, we need to learn how to reprogram. We need to learn about programming, how to install new mental program, how to activate it, how to actually use it, and how to deactivate and decommission all toxic mental programs.
And this is why, if we focus on solutions, which nowadays I call solutions, because they come from soul, the best ones. If we focus on solutions, we start realizing that the real sustainable solutions are not like millions and billions of them, right? The problems that arise can be infinite, but solutions are often quite finite, and they're really, if we focus in on them, then we are focusing in on smaller set of things as opposed to bigger set of problems that we're having to deal with. So that kind of solution focus is actually easier on the mind. And certainly, I can agree with this thing that you said about psychologists, because I went to some conference in Poland a couple of years ago where I was speaking about, my topic was system of systems for designing systems. Okay. And it's talking about that meta OS reprogramming. And I was speaking to a psychologist lady who was actually a trainer of teams on how to work more collaboratively, la, la, la. And at this kind of like speaker's dinner the day before, she said to me, like, what do you do? And said, I'm coaching people through this Fresh Mind program. And I started explaining to her the Fresh Mind program. We spent about 10 minutes speaking about it. And she goes, stop. And so, oh, what is it now? Have I said something wrong? She goes, you just gave me 3 major breakthroughs on why I've been suffering myself, why I divorced my previous husband, and why I haven't made a major breakthrough in my career in the last 7-8 years. And she goes, stop talking, please, because I can't handle anymore. Like I said, I'm just explaining to you how the program works. Imagine what would happen if you actually were going through the program.
Beautiful. Beautiful, brother. Beautiful.
And she's like a PhD in psychology. And I was like, God, I was going to ask you for some advice. But yeah.
That's beautiful. Listening to that is absolutely beautiful. Yes. The material is that powerful. Yes, we need just more exposure to the general public. I love hearing that, man. It's kind of difficult because the general public at some point is going to clash with the competition between old standard methods and let's call these new methods. Let's say they're not really new, but they're just different. And well, I guess that would be a program in itself. It is, hey, how to open doors to just more things, man. There's more, and there's more to grow, and we can evolve. And hey, the last 20 years, we have a tool that nobody had in the past century. Internet, man. Internet is just super huge. You see, in the last century, they didn't have that. And absolutely everything academical is based on old, very, very old stuff. No, we have internet now, man. A single kid can just have access to all he wants.
Yeah, it was recently somebody posted on LinkedIn, oh, I have an old grandma who is stuck in her old people's home, and it's a bit bored. What tools, what apps, what tools can she use to, while away her time? And people are posting this, and I just posted internet. It's like whatever you imagine, it's on there, right? So it's just like how is your imagination working?
but we still and after mentioning internet, which is of course solid and true, we got to guide a little bit, because remember that somebody can run into, for example TikTok, and in a week time can say this is just total crap. Same thing with YouTube used in the wrong way, it's total crap. I mean, there's a lot of crap, but used in the right way is so beautiful and powerful. So yes, we gotta provide that little guidance, and yeah, the resources are there. I have a program for the retirees. Here where I'm living in the house with my parents, this is a neighborhood of people that retired. They're all 70 and over. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed, and this is people that are, let's say maybe affluent among the servant class, let's say, and so they have the money covered to just live, but they don't know what to do.
Yeah. So, out of ideas.
and then they're looking to what to do, and many of them are thinking of what business to start. Listen, they're in their 70s, say like, oh man, I can do this business. said, like, and I said, oh my God, well, listen, you could you could just continue doing what you're an absolute expert at, or second, we or the young ones need your expertise in a lot of fields a lot. You're the super mentor and expert, man. We need you, but they don't know that their model is very different. So one of my programs is I forgot the name, the exact name, but it's just for retirement, retirement, legacy and purpose. So that you're doing what you're good at and what you care for, something that's meaningful for you, that you are the specialist, that you are the genius, and you're just beautifully helping others, providing service, being of value.
Yes, man. Listen, brother, it's amazing to catch up with you as usual. And, just tell people, please, where they can find you online and all these wonderful things that you're offering.
Little Ocean Drop, all platforms. Little Ocean Drop in all platforms. This year, I'll be launching that beautiful library of mental programs. I can't wait to be sharing those with you. It's just the entire last year, I didn't sold, not for 1 minute, just concentrated building and creating on this library and how to put it together so that it is visible and provocative, let's say, and it is just not passed through. It's something that I can really have traction and engage with the people and be a beautiful service. So thanks for the time.
Awesome.
Thanks for the attention. Thanks for the space. Thanks for everything. This is wonderful. And I think that for coronavirus days, the tone of this conversation is beautifully positive.
Yeah, it has to be. And I think, one thing I've been thinking about is how can we make consciousness and upgrading ourselves go viral? That's the thing I've been thinking about a lot. And that's what strikes me, that the world needs more than any other virus.
We need healthy viruses to go viral. Viruses to go viral.
Exactly. So that's really, to me, like the biggest teaching of this pandemic and epidemic. And you see, like, example here is, people being like told to quarantine now, and it's like stay at home. You only got one time per day to go out, right? So now people seem to have constructed in their minds this thing: I've got one ticket per day, right? So I better use that. And what happens? You go to the local park. There's more people in the local park than ever before, because they're all using that one ticket every day. So now people are getting into running because it's like, I've got one chance per day to go running, so I better go, right? And it's like, whoa, people are going to get healthier, more connected to nature, more like break from the screens, more habitually, installed these kind of basically healthy practices, realize and appreciate the power of a local park and a tree, and river and so on, and breath of a fresh air, all that stuff. It's like, this thing is doing a lot of the work that we've been telling people. It's like, go out to the park and run, it's like, yeah, but my Netflix and blah, blah. It's like, I think most people have already watched everything on Netflix that they ever wanted to watch. It's like Netflix is maxed out, and I noticed like Netflix is like toning down the quality of videos because it's like burning the internet. So so I think more people are just going to like reconnect with nature inevitably through this.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Consciousness and awareness, you see, it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And that the sentence, then absolutely everything is in divine order and happening for a reason. It is happening. Beautiful words of beautiful last words of Sean Stephenson. Sean?
Uh-huh.
Which is, this is not happening to us, this is happening for us.
Yeah. And then long term, I'm sure it's going to all make sense in perspective, in the grander perspective. So that's cool, man. Thank you very much, my brother. Big virtual.
I love the conversation. Yeah. You too, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Waiting for the next one.
All right, nice one.